You know that feeling when you walk into a room, see people laughing, chatting, performing, and something inside you quietly says, I hate people? Not just, I'm tired, or I need space, but a deep, bone-level irritation with human beings. Maybe you avoid group chats, mute everyone's stories, fantasize about disappearing, or you find yourself constantly thinking, people are fake, selfish, loud, annoying. And then, another part of you steps in and whispers, what's wrong with me? Why am I like this? If that's you, this video might feel uncomfortably accurate, but in a strangely comforting way too, because psychology has a very different story to tell about people who hate people. It's not always about being mean, bitter, or evil. Underneath that hatred, there are patterns of childhood wounds, nervous system overload, betrayal, disappointment, and a deep, deep hunger for authenticity that has not been met. In the next few minutes, we're going to peel back the layers of that feeling. We're going to explore where it comes from, what it protects you from, and why it might actually be a sign that you feel too much rather than too little. We'll look at how trauma, introversion, high sensitivity, and Jungian shadow work all play into this, and how you can move from I hate people to I understand myself without trying to force yourself into being endlessly social or fake. If you've ever felt like everyone else seems fine with things that make you silently rage inside, stay with me. By the end of this video, you'll have a clearer picture of why you react the way you do, what your mind is trying to protect, and how you can create a life that feels less draining, even if you never become a people person. And if you're new here, welcome to Deep Psyche Lab, where depth psychology meets everyday life. If you find yourself thinking deeply about your own patterns, your past, and your inner world, consider subscribing and turning on notifications so you don't miss future episodes. Let's start with something that most people who feel this way never fully say out loud. For many, I hate people isn't a sentence they share. It's a secret confession that lives in their head. You might be polite, kind, even helpful on the outside, but there's this inner commentary running whenever you're around others. You walk into a crowded room and your brain starts scanning, too loud, too fake, too much. You notice every performative laugh, every shallow question, every subtle power game, and somewhere inside you, a quiet disgust rises. Not necessarily at every individual person, but at the whole social scene itself. It feels draining, scripted, artificial. You start saying no to invitations. You check out emotionally even when you say yes. You pride yourself on being low drama, yet you feel like the world itself is nothing but noise. What's interesting here is the difference between truly hating people and hating how you feel around people. When you say, I hate people, your nervous system might actually be screaming, I hate feeling unsafe, unseen, or overstimulated around people. But the brain doesn't always use that precise language. Instead, it collapses everything into a global judgment. People suck. Humanity is trash. I'm done. That global judgment is actually a psychological defense, because it's sometimes less painful to condemn people as a category than to sit with your grief over the specific ways you have been hurt, ignored, or disappointed by particular people in your life. So where does this start? Often with chronic disappointment and betrayal. Maybe you grew up with promises that were never kept. A parent who said they'd show up but didn't. A caregiver who said, you can tell me anything, and then used your honesty against you. A friend who swore they'd have your back and vanished the moment it cost them something. A partner who said, you can trust me, and then proved the opposite. Your brain is always learning, always encoding patterns. If you touch a hot stove enough times, your body learns, don't touch that. If you get burned by people enough times, your brain quietly rewrites its operating system. People equals danger. People equals pain. People equals letdowns. At first, it might just feel like sadness and confusion. You might try harder with people, You might over-explain yourself, overgive, over-apologize. But after enough hurt, something flips. That softer emotion gets replaced by hardness. Sometimes the mind decides that grieving specific people is too painful. So instead it turns your heartbreak into a worldview. Instead of saying, I'm devastated that this person hurt me, it becomes, this is just how everyone is. That shift from personal pain to global judgment is a defense mechanism. It's like your psyche saying, if I treat everyone as untrustworthy, no one can surprise me again. Psychology has a name for that kind of protective stance. It's a mixture of generalization and emotional numbing. You stop really seeing individuals. You see types, categories, stereotypes. Friend groups become fake. Co-workers become idiots. Strangers become annoying. Humanity becomes disappointing. It might sound cynical, but underneath, it's rooted in deep disappointment. People who truly hate people on a soul level are rare. More often, people who say they hate people are unconsciously saying, I can't handle being hurt again. And then there's another layer, overstimulation and social exhaustion. Not all hatred is about hatred. Sometimes it's about overload. If you're introverted, highly sensitive, or just someone whose nervous system gets overwhelmed easily, being around people can feel like being in a room full of static. The noise, the movement, the small talk, the emotional undercurrents, all of it pounds on your senses. After a while, you don't just feel tired, you feel irritated. Your threshold shrinks. Things that wouldn't bother others feel unbearable to you. Someone talking loudly on a phone, a coworker dragging you into shallow gossip, a group conversation where 5 topics are happening at once. You feel your chest tighten, your jaw clench, your thoughts spiral into, I hate people, I can't do this, I need everyone to go away. In that moment, the hatred isn't about each person's character, it's about what your body is experiencing. Your nervous system is maxed out, and your brain is labeling the entire source of stimulation people as the enemy. It's like someone with a migraine saying, I hate sunlight. They don't actually hate the sun, they hate what the light does to them in that state. If you've never been taught to recognize overstimulation, you end up interpreting your irritation as proof that you're a bad person, or that humanity really is intolerable, instead of realizing, oh, I'm just burned out, and my system is screaming for quiet. Think about how you feel after a long day of dealing with others. Maybe you've been polite at work, listening to clients or co-workers. You've smiled at strangers, answered messages, replied to emails, handled family responsibilities. By the time you finally get a moment alone, something small can tip you over the edge. One more notification, one more person asking for something. That's when the inner voice comes out. I hate people. Leave me alone. You might even feel guilty for thinking it, but guilt doesn't process the deeper issue. It doesn't address the fact that your brain might be doing the only thing it knows to push back against constant demands, exaggerating, using extreme language, and creating a wall of emotional distance. Then we come to one of the most powerful and uncomfortable ideas in depth psychology. What you hate in others often points to something in yourself that is unresolved, repressed, or disowned. Jung called this the shadow, the parts of ourselves that we don't identify with, don't want to see, or were punished for expressing. When the shadow gets pushed down, it doesn't disappear. It just looks for somewhere else to appear, and often that somewhere is other people. You see traits in them that secretly belong to you, and instead of curiosity, you feel anger and disgust. Maybe you hate people who are loud, expressive, and attention-seeking. On the surface, you might say, they're so annoying, they just want attention, they're embarrassing. But what if, as a child, you were scolded for being too loud, too playful, too noticeable? What if you learned that your aliveness was too much? Your shadow then holds that silenced, expressive part of you. So when you see someone else living out what you were punished for, it doesn't just irritate you, it hurts. It touches an old wound. Rather than feeling that pain, your psyche channels it outward as judgment. I hate people like that. Or maybe you hate people who are needy, emotional, and vulnerable. It might genuinely frustrate you how often they overshare or ask for help. But what if, deep down, you are desperately needy too, and you've learned to hide it behind competence, independence, and control? Your shadow holds all the times you wished you could ask for help, cry in front of someone, or say, "I'm not okay." So when you encounter someone who does exactly that, your shadow gets activated. Instead of saying, "I wish I felt safe enough to be that honest," your mind says, "They're weak. I can't stand people like that." Hate, in this case, becomes a mirror that you don't realize is pointed at you. This doesn't mean everything you dislike in others is secretly inside you in the same way. Some behaviors are genuinely harmful or inappropriate, but when your reaction is intensely charged, when it feels disproportionate to the situation, that's when it's worth asking, what does this say about me? What wound is this touching? What part of myself have I exiled that I'm now persecuting in others? Shadow work is uncomfortable because it dissolves the illusion that the problem is always out there. It asks you to sit with the ways your hatred might be protecting you from seeing something deeper. Now let's talk about another defense that hides inside the phrase, "I hate people," the armor of superiority. For many, hating people is a way of feeling above them. If you decide everyone is stupid, shallow, or fake, then you never have to feel not enough. You don't have to face your own insecurities if you position yourself as the one who sees through it all. Sarcasm, cynicism, and intellectual detachment become emotional armor. You make jokes about how you're better off alone. You roast other people's behavior with your friends or in your head. You might even feel a quiet hit of self-satisfaction when you watch humanity fail your expectations yet again. Underneath that armor, though, is usually a deep fear of vulnerability. If you actually admitted your longing for connection, you'd have to confront all the times connection didn't work, all the times you tried and people misunderstood you, all the times you wanted to be included but weren't. Superiority says, "I don't need them anyway." It protects your ego from the more fragile truth. I want people, but I don't trust them. I want closeness, but I'm terrified of being disappointed. It is easier for the mind to stay in the role of the observer, the critic, the judge, than to step into the messy arena of real human relationship. Many of these patterns trace back to childhood scripts you didn't choose. If your early environment taught you that people, especially caregivers, were inconsistent, explosive, absent, or unsafe, your nervous system simply adapted. Maybe you had a parent whose moods swung wildly, so you learned to keep your distance emotionally. Maybe you opened up once and got mocked, so you never did it again. Maybe your role in the family was to be the strong one, the quiet one, the one who doesn't cause trouble. You learned that shrinking your needs kept things more stable. You might have grown up in a house where secrets were normal, where you weren't allowed to talk about certain topics. Or you saw constant conflict and promised yourself you'd never let anyone have that kind of emotional power over you. Those experiences shape your attachment style, your template for how safe or unsafe people feel. If you lean avoidant, independence becomes your identity. You keep people at arm's length. Your personal space is sacred. Deep down, there might be a story that says, if I let anyone get too close, they will eventually disappoint or control me. Hatred becomes distance. Distance becomes safety. The child who once would have done anything to be loved grows into the adult who says, I don't need anyone. It's not that the need disappeared, it just got buried under layers of self-protection. Here's the paradox that many people don't realize. People who say they hate people are often the most sensitive people in the room. They're the ones who pick up on micro-expressions, tone shifts, body language. They notice hypocrisy, they sense tension. They can feel when the mood changes, even slightly. They often have a fine-tuned radar for insincerity, and because they feel so deeply, the gap between what they crave honesty, depth, presence, and what they often encounter surface-level chat, unprocessed trauma, emotional unavailability hurts more. Their frustration with people is, in many cases, a frustrated longing for realness. Maybe that's you. Maybe you crave one or two raw, honest, emotionally safe connections more than a room full of acquaintances. Maybe you're not against humanity, you're against pretending. You're against performative friendliness. You're against relationships where no one actually says what they mean. When someone says, "I hate people," they might be unconsciously saying, "I hate fake dynamics. I hate emotional games. I hate environments where I can't be myself." And because they rarely find spaces where they feel fully seen, they retreat. They stop trying. They label people as the problem because it's painful to admit they still want connection they don't believe exists. But there is a danger when "I hate people" becomes your permanent address. It can turn into a prison. One day you wake up and realize you're lonely, but your identity is now built around being the one who doesn't need anyone. Your brain starts collecting only the data that proves your belief. Every rude driver, every insensitive comment online, every betrayal on the news becomes more evidence. See? People are the worst. You stop noticing acts of kindness, moments of genuine care, small pockets of real humanity, because your mind is biased toward confirming what it already believes. This is what psychology calls confirmation bias, and when combined with isolation, it can deepen into depression, numbness, even despair. You might feel detached from society, like you're watching a movie you didn't ask to be in. At the same time, your inner critic turns the hatred inward. If people are awful and I'm a person, what does that make me? Resentment toward others becomes self-loathing too. You feel stuck between two impossible choices: be with people and feel overwhelmed, irritated, disappointed, or be alone and feel disconnected, misunderstood, and sometimes painfully lonely. So what's the alternative? It's not forcing yourself to love people overnight. It's not pretending to enjoy every social interaction. It's a more nuanced reframing, moving from "I hate people" to "I need different people, different environments, and different boundaries." Instead of holding the entire human race in contempt, you start getting specific. Maybe you don't hate people, you hate people who don't respect your time. You hate people who gossip and pull you into drama. You hate people who steamroll over your boundaries or expectations. That specificity matters, because once you name what doesn't work for you, you can start designing a life that honors what does. This is where boundaries come in. Boundaries are not about building a concrete wall around your heart and throwing away the key. They're more like a front door that you can open and close intentionally. You don't have to say yes to every event, every conversation, every favor. You don't have to be available 24/7. You are allowed to leave group chats that drain you. You are allowed to mute people on social media. You are allowed to say, "I'm not in the headspace to talk right now," without apologizing for needing quiet. Boundaries take that raw, chaotic feeling of "I hate people" and turn it into "I know what overwhelms me, and I'm allowed to protect myself from it." As you practice this, your nervous system learns something new. Instead of "people always equal exhaustion," it can learn "being around the wrong people in the wrong way at the wrong time drains me, but there might be other ways." Like smaller groups instead of massive gatherings, one-on-one conversations instead of parties, online communities centered around depth and honesty instead of superficial scrolling. You start curating your exposure instead of trying to cut yourself off from humanity entirely. Alongside boundaries, healing this pattern also means gently exploring your own shadow and wounds. Next time you find yourself thinking, "I hate people," pause and get curious. What exactly triggered that sentence? Was it noise? Was it being ignored? Was it watching someone do something that you secretly wish you had the courage to do? Was it a reminder of a past betrayal? Ask yourself, what part of me is being activated here? You don't have to like everyone, but when your reaction is very strong, you can use it as data instead of proof that you are doomed to hate humanity forever. Journaling can help with this. You might write down "people I can't stand," and then list specific behaviors, not names. For each one, ask gently, "Where did I first encounter this? Did I see this in my family? Was I ever like this? Was I punished for the opposite of this? You may notice themes emerging. Maybe you hate chaos because you grew up in an unpredictable house. Maybe you hate neediness because you were told your own needs were a burden. Maybe you hate arrogance because you're terrified of being seen as arrogant yourself. Bit by bit, you shift from judging others to understanding the story behind your hatred. At the same time, there's nothing wrong with accepting that you are someone who genuinely needs more solitude than most. You don't have to transform into a social butterfly to be mentally healthy. There is a huge difference between honoring your need for quiet and using "I hate people" as a permanent identity. One is rooted in self-awareness, the other is rooted in fear. When you say, "I function better with a lot of space and a few close relationships," you're not hating people. You're acknowledging your wiring. When you say, "I need alone time after social events to feel balanced," you're not rejecting humanity. You're listening to your nervous system. Healing in this area is not about learning to enjoy what drains you. It's about discovering how to participate in human life on terms that work for you. Maybe that means having 3 deep friendships instead of 30 casual ones. Maybe it means finding one online community that values depth over performance. Maybe it means being honest when you're overwhelmed. Instead of pushing yourself until you snap and declare that you hate everyone, you can move gradually. You don't have to go from "I hate people" to "I love everyone" in a straight line. Maybe the first step is simply, "I hate some of the ways people behave, but I'm open to the possibility that not everyone is like that." As you move through this process, it's perfectly okay to ask for support. Therapy can help you untangle childhood scripts, work with attachment wounds, and explore your shadow in a safe space. Somatic practices can help your body feel safer in social environments by building regulation tools like grounding, breathing, and orienting. Even just having one person in your life who feels like a safe witness to your experience can change the story. The moment you have evidence that not all people are dangerous, your nervous system slowly recalibrates. It might still be cautious, but caution is different from hatred. And if you're still watching this, it already says something important about you. People who truly don't care about others or themselves don't watch psychology videos about their own patterns. The fact that you're here means you're curious. You want to understand, not just react. You're willing to look at uncomfortable truths inside yourself. That's not the energy of someone who is doomed to bitterness. That's the energy of someone who is tired of living behind armor and wondering if there's another way. You don't have to rush. You can start small. The next time your mind jumps to "I hate people," see if you can add one more sentence to it. "I hate feeling this way, and I wonder what it's protecting me from right now." That simple addition shifts your focus from condemning humanity to understanding yourself. Over time, that understanding creates choice. You might still choose solitude many days. You might still say no to events, unfollow people, protect your space, but it will come less from a place of pure hatred and more from a place of conscious care. You are allowed to be sensitive in a loud world. You are allowed to crave depth in a shallow culture. You are allowed to prefer a small, carefully chosen circle over constant social noise. None of that makes you wrong. None of that makes you broken. The key is to make sure that your sentence doesn't end at "I hate people," but continues into "and I'm learning to understand why, so I can build a life that doesn't feel like a constant attack." If this video spoke to you, know that you're not alone in feeling the way you do. There are many people quietly walking around with the same thoughts, the same defenses, the same longing underneath. If you feel safe doing so, share in the comments how this shows up in your life. Do you feel more exhausted, disappointed, overstimulated, or all of the above? Sometimes just putting it into words is the first step toward freeing yourself from the shame and confusion around it. Thank you for spending this time here with Deep Psyche Lab. If you found value in this, it would really support the channel if you liked the video, subscribed, and turned on notifications so you don't miss future episodes. Take care of your mind, your body, and your boundaries. You don't have to love everyone. But you do deserve a life where your relationship with people, including yourself, feels less like a war and more like something you can navigate with clarity, honesty, and a little more compassion.